be as simple as searching for something in Google? Again, why can't analyzing data be as simple as searching for something in Google? At SimpleQL, we believe it can be. We've distilled a wealth of data analysis power into a search box that serves as one universal interface between business people and all of their data within both software applications and private databases. Let's check it out. Cool. So first thing we're going to do is put ourselves in the shoes of one of the entrepreneurs in this room raising capital, and imagine that you've been lucky enough to score a meeting with Excel partners. And so you're going to use SimpleQL to fully prepare for that meeting. And as we switch over to his laptop, which is going to happen, I'm sure, momentarily, what you would see is Yossi using our guided search interface to create a query over Crunchbase, which is one of the public sources we give everyone free access to. And he's creating a query, pulling up all of Excel's portfolio companies grouped by category. And so Yossi, let's push pause for a moment and see how he got there. So our guided search interface does two things. At the top are a series of predictive suggestions, not unlike how Google works, that get smarter and more personalized over time. At the bottom are a series of ad hoc language pathways that literally guides users through creating queries as if they were data scientists. Cool. So as we scroll down, you see Yossi has all of Excel's investments broken down by category. He's going to drill down in the analytics space, which is ours. So in moments, we have a really good understanding of all the investments they've made in our space. Cool. Okay, so the next objective we have is to use SimpleQL to figure out which Excel portfolio companies we're already talking to, either as current customers or in our sales pipeline. So what Yossi just did is pull up a query that brings up all of Excel's portfolio companies. And Yossi, how many does that give us?
We have about 300.
Okay, so we've got 300 companies, and now those of you that have used Salesforce will appreciate searching for 300 companies manually through Salesforce does not sound like fun. So Yossi, we can use SimpleQL for that too, correct?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right. So Yossi is going to create a query over Salesforce to pull up all of our opportunities in our Salesforce pipeline. And in moments, we've got all those opportunities, all of the Crunchbase or the Excel portfolio companies. And Yossi, short of putting together a complicated Excel spreadsheet, how do I find commonality between them?
Let's combine them.
All right, so we're going to use SimpleQL's unique combine feature to find commonality between the two data sets. And this can be done between multiple data sets of any shape and size, as long as there's a common denominator. So Yossi just selected that common denominator, told us what columns and fields he wants back, and in moments we're going to know, here are all the Excel portfolio companies that we're already doing business with. Yossi's going to drill down, sort it by stage name, and we have a really good understanding of the ones we're talking to that are in proposal or contract or current customers.
Oh wait, Scott, Spotify.
Spotify, thanks for bringing that to my attention. We just got a pretty animated call from one of their executives about some feature requests that are burning in their minds. So in moments, I want to figure out what the status is of those. So we just created a query over Jira, which is yet another data source we have access to, that pulls up all of those, and we can drill down quickly. Again, making a lot more value out of data. So very cool. The world is creating an obscene amount of data, yet nothing has enabled mere mortals to make sense of it. That's exactly what we're doing at SimpleQL by distilling a wealth of data analysis power into a search box. It's not about the hundreds of dashboards large enterprises have created with today's tools, but rather the hundreds of thousands of questions business users will ask with SimpleQL. Please go to simpleql.com and sign up. It's free while we're in beta over Salesforce, Crunchbase, and Jira, and join our quest to democratize data analysis globally. Thank you.
Bruno, you want to ask the first question?
Yes. How much have you done in the way of usability testing, where you sit a user down in front of it, don't tell them how it works, and see what they do?
Yeah, a fair amount. We've got about a dozen customers in private beta that we've been working with for up to a year. So we've been doing quite a bit of that actually. And that's one of the areas. We started out with just the ad hoc language pathways, and then added the predictive suggestions, which are queries that get smarter and more personalized over time. So it eases people's entry into it.
And have you found them getting increasingly more sophisticated, that they've been actually getting the data they wanted?
Yeah, we find a fascinating pattern, right? Somebody just clicks into a search box and starts, just clicking things, and then all of a sudden they see really unique ways to manipulate the data, and the aspect or the process of data digging, we've heard, sort of becomes an addictive, fun hobby for people, because they don't have to have any pre-existing knowledge of either the underlying data source or the ways to manipulate that data.
To raised a great point. This is a great tool for millennials coming out and just going at the data. What happens if it's a data scientist who's been working for some time and they have their favorite queries in whatever system they have, whether it's R or some other? How do you get some of those pulled in?
Yeah, it's a lot of different ways. So we can actually take SQL directly into the system. They can save their queries, they can save dashboards, they can set up queries and dashboards for other people. They can also set up reports and alerts for people. So I want to know this query every Monday morning at 9 a.m. before this other important meeting. Or only tell me when something happens. For example, I'm a sales executive, I want to know when one of my salespeople has just killed it or is performing poorly over the last 3 or 4 weeks. So I can set these kinds of things up in advance, so I have automated sort of data assistance.
So you mentioned that you have these existing data sets as a starting point. When someone wants to add a new data set, how do they map out the meaning behind all these different pieces of structured data so you can use that full combined feature? How difficult is that for the administrator?
Yeah, great question. So it depends on the source. So if it's a software application we have an adapter to, you simply enter your credentials and we sync the data instantly. If it's a private database that we don't know about in advance, we have a semantic mapping process that typically lasts a couple hours. And what we do is we connect to the underlying data source. We have an automated process that looks at the data in all the underlying fields and classifies it, like is it a last name, a first name, a currency, a date, whatever it is. And then we work with the administrator to ensure we got those classifications right and the aliases and the other things of the language that make it work, like prefixes and suffixes and verbs and that kind of thing.
How do you plan to make money?
Good question. It's a SaaS company, so we're going to charge subscriptions to people that sign up online. Right now it's free while we're in public beta, and we're going to have enterprise, sort of annual subscriptions with unlimited usage depending on which adapters they're using.
Danielle, do you have any suggestions for them on how they can kind of bridge this gap between, the data jockeys who already do this stuff and the more general business users that would like to but don't have the skills?
I would suggest you write stories about the cool things you learn from the data so people can think about how it's actually useful in real life.
Real world examples. Bruno, what are your thoughts on product or on distribution?
I think that one of the concerns I have is the type of thinking that you need to get the answers you want out of this system is a fairly analytical type of thinking. And so making it as easy as possible for people to use it even though they may not understand SQL or something similar to it. Yeah. And so it's ease of use.
Great, big round of applause.